In many ways, starting over again is embarrassing. And let me tell you a little bit about what I mean by that. Because once again, you're a beginner. You're starting fresh. And when you get to this age, you've been working in a certain field for a period of time, you get used to having some sort of expertise in it, some sort of knowledge, a comfort zone, maybe even esteem and respect from others. And you feel you know what you're doing, you're confident. But when you're starting fresh on something new, especially later in life, you're a beginner all over again. And that is sometimes kind of a hard pill to swallow because you have to present yourself as a beginner. You're functioning as a beginner, and yet, in my case, I'm over 60 years old, and yet I'm a beginner, and that doesn't always align. People can see that oddly. You see yourself oddly, even, because you feel you should have it all sorted out by now. Everything should be cruising along great, possibly on autopilot, and yet here you are floundering around like you just graduated high school and you're figuring out a job. So that is one of the factors that make starting over really, really complicated. For example, I've got two stories that I can share with you. The first one about YouTube, making these videos. What do I know about this? Nothing. I'm learning as I go. I'm figuring it all out. Every aspect of creating on YouTube, promoting on YouTube, trying to get these videos out so people can see them and hopefully, build some knowledge from it, share an idea, maybe reinforce how they're feeling, normalize things. There's so many things I'm hoping to gain from it, but I'm doing it all fresh with no experience. I've never done this before. There's some kids that have been making videos since they were preteens or younger, and they can get into their 20s and just be making them like it's just, making a sandwich. To them, it's nothing. To me, this is all new. And everything from, oh, there goes my dog again. Everything from script writing to thumbnails, all that becomes challenging. And so that's one way that, being a beginner kind of impacts you is you're still trying to figure it out. You don't really know. Another domain where it's impacting me is photography. Because even though I'm not new to photography, as I've told you guys, I had a darkroom when I was a teenager and all those kind of things. I know how to take pictures, at least as well as I know how to take pictures. There's people that are significantly better, but as good as I can do. But starting it as a business at this age is definitely raises that embarrassment factor a lot. Because what do you have to do? You have to network. You have to go out and meet people to try to promote that business. And in doing so, it's kind of natural to share that this is new to you, that this is something you haven't done. And not the photography piece, but even just starting the business. And you have to get over that fear, that anxiety, because in your head, at least in mine, maybe in some of yours too, you should have it figured out. Like I said earlier, you should have this sorted out. So why am I out promoting a business? Why am I out hustling for business at this age? I should already be established. And if I'm not established, what does that say about me potentially to a client? Are they going to have the same confidence hiring somebody who's still, getting their feet wet versus somebody or a production company that fully knows what they're doing? I don't know. And so these become kind of the dilemmas, and the little voices in your head are like, I'm not going to make YouTube videos because, how am I going to look? How am I going to sound? Do I even know how to do it right? You're going to see them and laugh because I don't look like X, Y, and Z YouTuber who's doing it really well. Or how do I go explain to somebody, I'm just starting my business, here's what I do, here's some samples of my work, and you're 60-something years old. There's that little voice that says, just don't do it. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't make life hard on yourself. And it's a constant battle with that little voice to be able to move forward and do what you have to do to promote yourself, to promote your business, to make these videos, whatever it is, despite those voices and despite the embarrassment of, hey, I'm starting fresh. I don't know anything. I'm a beginner again. So that's some of the hurdles I've run into. I'd love to hear some of the ones that maybe some of you have run into as well, if you've tried to start over at a later stage in life. Oh, and there goes my doggy again. He loves to say hi to you guys. And when starting something new, there's always that, I wish I had done this sooner, and you start comparing yourself to those that are younger and either just getting started but are in their 20s and 30s versus 60s, which seems appropriate to just be getting started at that age. Or you compare yourself to those that are maybe a little more established than who I just talked about, and then here you are floundering around. They're in their 30s, maybe early 40s. They've got a solid business running, they're established, they're doing well. And then, I come prancing in at 60 years old wanting to start a photo business and compete with them, compare myself to them. And again, that's another one of these challenges that often can end up with the feelings of embarrassment. And it's just the reality of what it is. And all we can do really is try to get past it, try to fight through it, understand that it's normal. If we want to start something new, of course we're starting at the bottom. Few of us can just start something and start right at the top. So we have to sort of run with that, coach ourselves, make ourselves feel better, try to silence those voices in our head or counteract them with more positive thoughts, right? And so those are some of the challenges that we face that I can think of in starting something when we are older, because we're a beginner, and being a beginner when you're older can be embarrassing. So if you've run into any of these difficulties that I talked about, or have others that I didn't, there's so many it could be. I just wanted to throw a few together to make feel better myself, but also get the wheels spinning in other people's heads of just kind of what some of the challenges might be. Because if we're proactive about it, if we understand what they are, we might be able to counteract them better. So also share any that I did not mention that you've experienced or that you believe you might experience. Please leave a comment. I'd really appreciate it. I'd love to hear from you. Like I've said previously, trying to slowly work towards building some kind of community of those of us who are all looking to either make a transition from full-time work to semi-retirement, maybe change what we're doing for work from full-time into semi-retirement like me, or even if you're fully retired and just looking for things to do to make some extra money, to feel a sense of accomplishment and purpose, any of those things, leave a comment. I'd love to hear.